Watch this video. This is a good one, okay? I'm going to show you how to build a power supply station for your van life vehicle, your camping truck, maybe just your campsite or your off-grid homestead. It's simple. It runs off of an alternator in a vehicle. It's 12 volts. It's portable. It doesn't need to be stationary in one fixed place. There's no drilling, no wiring, no nothing. So if this is for you, please keep watching. 320 bucks. I mean, come on. Why not? Good morning. Taking out the trash. I'm in a Facebook group called Off-Grid Living and Survival, and I just have been working really hard at cultivating friendships in these places. And one of the ones that has been incredibly rewarding to be cultivating, to be starting, is a friendship with somebody named Melissa Collins. We had a conversation, and I was discussing how I wish I had a bluetti power supply, solar generator dealy, and I was just thinking, I don't know how the idea pulled up in my brain, but I had this idea that maybe I need to share with everybody how I power the back of my truck, my camping truck, how I charge my devices, how I use lights back there. There's no holes to drill. There's no fancy thing you gotta buy. I think my whole system maybe cost me $320 to set up, and it's simple. Everything's off the shelf. You don't have to drill holes, use mounting brackets. It's just a simple method. So if you're in a situation, if you're doing van life out of necessity or for fun, if you're on a budget, if the high-tech wiring thing isn't your thing, this might be an option for you. And I'm going to show you this as simply as I can because it fills all my needs. It's rechargeable. It has running power. I did some research. The average mini fridge, I think, at startup has about 300 watts of pull. So my little 400 watt power inverter is more than enough, and that's on the big side. Some of them are as low as 50, right? So if you got a mini fridge that you're worried about running, you can run that thing. It's kind of simple. I'm just going to show you my simple circuitry, my simple wiring plan for this, and how I use it, and how I recharge it off-grid. And here it is. It's simple. This is what you need. I will go over everything in just a minute. But this isn't mine. This is actually my neighbor's. I'm borrowing it. But according to him, it was like $60 or $70 at like Cummins or whatever that cheap tool store is. The key thing about this, making it important, is it has this little wall plug charger on the back. There's no special cords or extra stuff you need. But it's got a light. It's got a USB outlet on there. It's got two of these 12-volt cigarette plugs. And it's got jumper cables, which I'll get to why that's important in a minute. Part 2 of my little portable power station is this. Yeah, you guys probably, if you've watched any of my videos, know how I feel about Duralast, but some things are worth it. It's already fused. You don't have to worry about blowing anything or pulling wires. And this is actually, there's these little twisty knobs on the back that are convenient. So I actually have like gator clips that I can hook on directly to the battery terminal if I need to, or I can just simply untwist these and rewire it however I need to. And it has 2 regular wall plugs on the front and 2 USB plugs with an on-off switch, which is pretty convenient. If you're wondering, there's studs on that battery. Now, the battery will drain quicker, but there are studs on that battery that you could easily mount more than one of these little 400 watt inverters on. If you had like an induction cooktop, or if you had, let's just a little space heater in the living area, which, by the way, guys, I recommend using 12 volt stuff like a blanket or like a cigarette outlet plug, because you don't want to pull more than 12 volts through the system. It is a 12 volt system. Everybody knows that. Vehicle batteries are like 12.4 to 14 volts of output on hand, and with these deep cycles you're a little bit safer. Now in my truck I have an upgraded alternator, so it's easier to use all this stuff all at once if I needed to. Obviously I can't drive down the street with jumper cables dragging down the side of my truck. But if I don't move very far, or I'm only using it for a night, it's pretty sufficient, especially in the cold. I personally don't need a refrigerator. I really don't need to cook in my truck. But if I wanted to, it's nice to know that I have the power there if I need to do it. I mainly use mine for like running my laptop or charging my phone, in the future charging drone batteries or camera batteries now. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that this small, simple setup can help make your life a lot easier. I can't tell you how many times in my life, like before cell phones were a big thing, that I broke down on the side of the road. My phone was dead, or there was no way to get help. I didn't even have jumper cables, a 4-way, a jack, a spare tire. And I'm just sitting there like, now what do I do? Next thing you know, I'm walking 15 miles to go to a gas station that's closed, and I gotta sleep under a bush for 3 hours and hope they open soon. And then when they do, you try to call home and everybody already left. And yeah, this happened. If I'd have had this then. And I think the big message here is that we don't focus so much on having more things, right? It's using what we have to get what we want, right? We don't need to, this isn't a competition. We don't need the biggest, baddest solar power plant, inverters and interrupters and secondary switches and isolators and capacitor. We don't need all that. We really don't. We just need a couple of batteries and we're good for a couple of days. Honestly, that's about as simple as it is. Your vehicle contains so much technology that can help you now without having to do anything. Maybe something small like a set of jumper cables and a cheap power inverter from AutoZone. Something as simple as that can streamline everything that you have in your mind that you need to get done, and it'll keep you from getting confused with what you want to do. Like, do you really need a floorboard heater or Starlink? If you've got a cell phone and you're not too far from society, you're probably going to be okay anywhere in the United States for the most part. So use this information and try to find a way to make it suit you, because it's about using what you have to be where you want to be. It's not about needing money and being dependent on a situation. That's not off-grid. Being off-grid means that you're self-reliant. Self, not externally reliant. These things are easy to get. Once you get them, they're yours. There's no payment, there's no subscription plans, and you don't have to pay somebody else to put it in. It's simple circuitry, simple install, and I hope it benefits everybody who watches this video. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. I'm pretty sure I only paid $30 or $40 for that. At most. Item number 3. This is item number 3. Equally as important as the second one. More important, I think, than the first. But depends on your situation. You should probably have the first two. This is a Marine RV deep cycle battery. They're good in cold weather. They last a long time. And they've got 2 prongs. You can use them for anything. Super useful. This is my off-grid shore power hookup for recharging my deep cycle battery. Yes, it's jumper cables and my truck. I think these are really good ones. I got a cheap pair that's like $20 that does the job just fine. These I think were actually more like 70 or 80, so we're just not going to count that in the price. We'll just say, like, you know, miscellaneous. If you don't have these in your vehicle already, you're doing something wrong. So make sure you have jumper cables. I really don't want to include that in the price, but if you take the free battery jump pack that I'm using of my neighbors, then well, you know, it knocks $70 up to $320, puts us back down to like $250 or something. Item number 4. Extension cord, so I can recharge this. Extension cord's obviously old, it's obviously short, it's obviously used, it works. So the jump pack, with 2 12-volt plugs. Obviously, this jump pack can also be hooked up to this inverter the way it is, so I can run things in the back if I need to. But I don't need to, right? Because the inverter hooks up to my deep cycle battery, which stands alone, sits by itself in the back of the truck, with the power inverter hooked up to it. The power inverter charges the battery pack. The power inverter itself has plugs and USB ports. So I have like 3 USB ports, 2 outlets, and 2 regular residential wall plugs in my system. So that's everything you could ever possibly need to power anything in a small living environment. And should this long life, deep cycle, huge battery go dead, I then have, as you can see, I kind of wired it up like a circuit. I have jumper cables that come out, and I just recharge it off of my truck as needed. I do have a trickle charger, but I bought it. It was expensive, and it doesn't really serve a purpose, because when this thing goes dead, trickle charger is only going to maintain the charge that's in it. It's not actually going to charge this battery. So here's the simple circuit. The battery charges off the truck, then provides charge to the power inverter, which can then go to your mini fridge or jump pack or whatever you need. And if for some reason while charging this battery, that battery dies, you also have a jump start right here as a backup. It's a pretty simple setup. I mean, you could, most of this stuff is light enough you can pick it up. I mean, if you're have any disabilities or physical impairments that prevent you from being able to move a 30-pound battery around, then this might be a little bit of a challenge for you, but it's not so challenging that you can't easily get help from anybody else around you for 2 minutes of their time to help you do it. You know, like buy them a coffee. You know, it doesn't take much. If this helps you live more comfortably, live more affordably, or fulfill your dreams, going off-grid, camping, living in a vehicle, van life, whatever you want to do, make sure you like and subscribe and leave me a comment down in the comment section. Or if you see anything wrong with this setup, just let me know. My feelings won't get hurt. It's not safe to charge a battery in an enclosed area. Only enclosed area it's safe is under the hood of your car. If you ever smell a sulfur or a rotten egg smell, that's hydrogen sulfide gas leaking out of your battery. You've got a dead cell, and that stuff is very, very reactive. By that I mean flammable, explosion, caustic chemicals spilling on your skin and giving you horrible chemical burns or worse, you know. So if you experience any of those things, don't do that. It's always best to remove the battery to charge it. Also, I would like to, after giving that little disclaimer, give you a highlight of this feature. So you have tertiary backup for your vehicle. So say your battery dies in your truck because you were charging this thing. You have 3 different ways to restart your truck or your van or your car or whatever. You have jumper cables. You can get a jump off somebody else. If that's not an option, you have a jump pack, right? There's option number 2. And for some reason that's dead, you have the deep cycle battery. It's more than sufficient to be able to help recharge. Hook it up, let it recharge for 5-10 minutes, and then go ahead and try to crank it. Those jumper cables on that extra battery will be miraculously helpful in helping you keep your truck or your van or your vehicle or your home, whatever, keep it going. You've got triple backup. It's all removable. It's relatively light and portable. I mean, thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.